Welcome back, everyone, to Cyber Voices. It is me, David Savawillet, getting to meet some of the great minds in cyber within the Australian cyber community, and in the case of today, from around the world as well, to gain important insights for our Australian community. My guest today is Anastasia Tikhonova, who is the Global Threat Research Lead for Group IB. Which is a role that was established to bridge regional threat research teams with global strategic direction, aligning localized expertise with enterprise-wide priorities and long-term intelligence objectives. And Anastasia is joining me online today in the virtual studio from Phuket in beautiful Thailand. Anastasia, hello, welcome to Cyber Voices.
Hello, David. Happy to be here.
I wonder how someone like living and working in a place as beautiful as Phuket actually gets any work done. But you said to me that your organization has an interesting strategy to make sure that you get work done in Phuket. And what was that? It was something to do with the location of the office?
Yes, correct. We have our location in the middle of the island. So in each way, if you want to go to the beach, it will take you at least 30 minutes because this is the traffic jam, tourists everywhere, and you will calculate, do I need to spend this time to go into the sea or should I stay and work in the office? So it's really helped us a lot. So we don't see the sea from our window, but you can still feel the warmness of of this country. So kind of good place.
Something I'm more interested in is your role at Group IB, which is the Global Threat Research Lead, which sounds like, reading your bio before, sounds like a fascinating role, but for a bit more context for me and for our listeners as well, can you explain a bit about what is the day-to-day life of a Global Threat Research Lead at an organization like Group IB?
It's mostly in the Phuket office is R&D office. So we research and development, and most of our analysts who's presented in the region is here. We're sharing our knowledge, how we do our analysts. I name them the bees. They go in there and locals, searching the threats, how they can do automatization. And about the role, I would say someday somebody named me like a ChatGPT in cyber threats. So before it's LLM pop up, I guess everyone texted to me to say oh, okay, do you know about some thread who using this specific malware? They then send it some email or using this specific vulnerability, etc. And then they obtain the data and some others specific stuff. I said, okay, I read about it 1 year ago. This is what these guys blah, 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 blah. So I was this kind of ChatGPT, and I guess possibly they point out on me because I know a lot about the stuff. But speaking about day to day, we have different offices who support in different regions. We have presence in, we have in Australia, in Thailand, in Vietnam, Malaysia. It's Asian part. But we already have European offices in Italy, Amsterdam. We have offices in the Meta region like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Egypt. So all of them, if you will look, they have even their main threat can be the same, like a ransomware or phishing. How they exactly do phishing in Meta region or in LATAM region will be not how they do the phishing in the APAC region because of the different mentality, different solution, which companies and ourselves using day by day. And for making this a local understanding of the threat, specifically in this country, should be someone who will be connecting the dots between all the region. Let's imagine we're monitoring all ransomware sites and we want to build the scripts, and the one part of the world already started producing this stuff. But let's imagine in the APAC region, it makes slower because these threats started to be popular not so long ago. So they started thinking about building it. So connecting that we already have it here, you guys need to implement it there. Let's connect. Oh, and then there's a connection we're investigating this kind of group, but we saw they additionally have a phishing links for the LATAM region. And we assume as he's speaking Chinese here, he will speak in Chinese there, and then we'll use it by attacking you. So guys, please be aware these threats move into the other region, etc. stuff. So I'm a connector I would say between all the regions during the time trying to share all the benefits each region have, plus doing like a suggestions how to make others like you, our listeners, and other organization partners when they read the materials about our finding, they understand what exactly going on in more simplified way, but in the technical way too. So our technicians will see how they can be protected, what the defense should be, how the group like spread, what they use, what the updates will be in the future.
So I imagine
Under a
there's a
lot
lot
of
of.
stuff. Sorry.
I love the Chat GPT and cyber threats, and I bet with the amount of people turning to Chat GPT for far too many things these days, you're probably much happier that they would rather come to you to ask questions about cyber threat intelligence than turning to Chat GPT, right?
To be honest, there are people still coming. Yeah, so sometimes they like, okay, the one guy these days, our analyst texts to me, okay, Anastasia, I give you a hint. You need to make an agent, like a Claude agent or other AI agent, which will be answering like a stupid questions. I'm like, we don't have stupid questions. All the questions normal. He said, yeah, but sometimes people asking the same question several times. Even me, like I already 5 times asked something about our like work, and you always reply to me with the same answer. I remember this after I asked you. I was like, it's okay. I would say that we already have some kind of tools, but nobody use it. Why? Let's go and let's go back, start to use them in this case. So yeah, we still we produce and use this new AI technology, helping us with this like quicker search and obtaining more information. But people is still valuable because they already have like long history of experience, which they like day by day use it before the AI come up.
and sometimes sometimes it's just better to get that human opinion and analysis of a situation over what an AI might tell you. It sounds like a fascinating role, by the way, and it seems like you've had quite the stellar career, a lot of recognition, by the way. So I see that in 2023, Top Women in Security Security Researcher Award and Top Women in Security Country Award for Thailand in 2024. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Tell me how. I'm always interested in people's career trajectories and how they found themselves in the roles that they're in. How does Anastasia Tikhonova find herself as the global threat research lead? What brought you into this career path?
I guess my previous position, because I was really passionate. So it was 2017, I guess, and we came across a lot of the noise starts to do national state hackers, so the hackers who supported by some government. And I was like kind of interested because was another level for me. So previously I did the research in the dark web, cyber criminals, mostly about fraud and like group like money taker on sales who's obtaining the money, etc. And because I was passionate about their satisfactory of all the steps they produce, how precise they was in the attacking, like so they still say sit still during the year, sometimes in the network on the big government organizations or some financial institution or some technical giants, and they like listening, searching some additional information. I'm like, okay, sounds comprehensive. I need to be there. I need to know from the first hands how they do so, how I can like share this information with our customers, partners, and outside of our organization, how to make the world more safer and know how to like fight such a threat. And I was like enjoying how the big groups communicates and how they spread in their activity, how they drastically changing TTPs and adding some new solutions.
You've got a deeply inquisitive mind, and you're very good at sort of seeing the patterns, and just listening to you talking about just the pure interest that you had from seeing tactics and techniques change and how different groups operate, or how tactics change across different regions and all that. It sounds like you've landed in the right place for the way your mind works. How does your research translate, or how do you translate your research to help governments and businesses prioritize their cyber activities or their cyber defenses?
There's several ways. Of course, we have our own solution, like a Group IB threat intelligence portal or digital risk protection portal, fraud protection, etc. stuff, where we try to explain and detect automatically and predict the attacks which will be in the future, like I said, with the network indicators or some malicious activities. Additionally, we do monitoring of the dark web, where this sometimes started there because the cyber criminal, they buying some already build solutions like a malware or like phishing kit. So all this kind of activity going on through the portal, we trying to make description for our customer where they specifically need be involved and be more monitoring and more defensive, and what is from them is more dangerous for them now than and others. Because if we're speaking about cyber threats, there's a lot of noise going on, a lot of this threat intelligence solutions producing a lot of notification alarms, something going on daily, each hour, each minute sometimes. So you should be aware of on where you should be focusing off and where you should okay, I can postpone it, or it's not interactive with me right now, I will go to there. But have this kind of prioritization, call it the back threat right now. So we're trying to give our customers and partners, first of all, of course, there's a financial telecommunications company, there's a government companies, some law enforcement with whom we work, like Interpol, Europol, Afripol, Asianapol. We're trying to be more focused. So we see new trends, which is mostly started to be used by not only one group, but several ones. This meaning that most of the cyber fields started using the same, like they, the same tactics, but how they were produced, it can be different, but supply chain attacks. And we saw, so there was a national state hackers who started using it several years ago, was first in Top Knock who doing this in the main way. They go through to the other cyber criminals. They saw the potential in this attack and they can implement it in for their financial goals. We will do the same. We will compromise some big SaaS solution. I don't know, Salesforce or some Oracle stuff, who have a lot of the customers, others big companies, etc. stuff. And if we compromise some of these big solutions, it means we can have possibly access to all these firms who is connected to them using integration, using the connections dots, implement the code if this public part. This means, so they spread it a lot. And we try to highlight this kind of threat to the government and to the industries, to what they should be aware of next year or this quarter or this month, because we saw a lot of the cyber criminals started to implement it, or they started to speak about it more loudly in the dark web. So they will share it, they'll share the detail how they do so. Sometimes, even the guides, you searching the review on some product, like a normal guy, I want to buy, I don't know, cup. And you're searching for the review inside, and I see, oh, this cup works absolutely well for coffee. I'm like, okay. There's the same happenings, oh, this malware works perfectly well for spam. You can use it. And a lot of others affiliates start using this solution because of the a review. This is what happened in the dark web.
We've heard that a lot lately, and we're learning more and more about just how sophisticated the dark web is and the economy that it is. And there's marketplaces, there's there's rules, there's corporate structures around people who are selling these products, and it's all, to them, it's all just a business. It's all usually built on fairly illegitimate grounds. I've even heard stories of there being courts on the dark webs, or places of arbitration where they can go to because someone hired ransomware group to do this on the promise of getting certain financial return, but didn't get the financial return they were expecting, and therefore takes their dispute to whatever the dark web version of court is. It's fascinating. Have you come across that?
Yes, there is a lot of the arbitration. Sometimes actually arbitration can help cyber defenders, because when the guys say okay, I bought this ransomware or bought this service from this ransomware, this is all the contacts which I'm contacted to. And there can be some additional dots for the investigation, like we found a new email or Bitcoin account. We can see the dots, etc. stuff. And yeah, they even try to have the money back from the services they bought, like a normal serviceman which work in the markets each day with you. Same working there. So they build this kind of infrastructure. Yeah, possibly the slightly changes because of the forums was previously more useful and more in touch like a community where you have a topics, each topic have a conversation, so you share your service there will be conversation with the reviews or some updates of your service, etc. Now we see that they trying to, because of the seize from the law enforcement, a lot of the forums like a breach forums like XSS and other stuff which is going on, they trying to move out to some other places. So they now have a closed Telegram channel, some Discord like accounts where they in channels where they communicate, or some Signal or Talks messengers where they can like have a one-to-one conversation. But there's still a lot of guys who prefer having this community in the forums because it feels something like from previous life. I would say 10 years ago when you start to build it and still believe the dark web community will work well. I feel less working in this case it was several years ago, but still valuable for them be there in some cases.
And they say there's no honor amongst thieves, but yes, I'm sure there's some people there who try to make it whatever the dark web version of an honest living is.
Yes.
You talked before as well about how you use your research to go out to different businesses and governments to talk about, oh, hey, for your next quarter or your next period, right here is where you should be focusing your efforts. I think there's a good segue into one of the questions I had, which is, it's April, still early April at the time of recording this episode. 2026 is in full swing. Anastasia, through your work, what are you seeing emerge as some of the top trends of 2026 when it comes to cyber threats?
I would say that this year like myself and our team name it like problem of trust, because all of us already like maybe each day we have a scam calls and we already start not believe on these calls or emails when you won 500 USD or some other stuff like, okay, the lottery, the new bag, the other stuff. So we already started to believe so, but the trust abuse going on another level. So they try to emphasize through you and abuse your identity to have the access to the companies. So they compromise the whole like credential stuff, not only like email and password. They don't need it. They need all the fingerprints that you have in the internet, your voice, your face, like your connections, all your like work connects or like if you're a remote worker, maybe you have like your DP, FTP and other stuff connections. So they're trying to copy you and be you with the connection of the scam, the companies itself. We saw like this identity fraud happens a lot with a lot new deepfake services, which is pop up in the dark web and in this like a Telegram channel, which you mentioned previously. So what they did in several cases, let's give the names like a Scatter Spider Group or like a Lazarus Group, who is a national state released from the North Korea. They trying to have all information about you. For example, I don't know, me and Anastasia work in the group IP, so they know with whom I possibly will be connected to, what is my background, what's solutions I use, where I presented like a Phuket already everyone saw. So they will be this whole story, copy my like LinkedIn pages, copy my voice, copy like my face, and trying to interrogate with the interview, or trying to obtain some accesses that I have in the third parties. For example, I'm like, because of working with a lot of customers, there's a possibility to, through me, interrogate with them and obtain some connections. Like, for example, there will be some big SaaS solutions again with a lot of the integrations inside. They will interrogate with me saying, is it urgent? I need to like that you approve our new contract. Oh, you should be aware of this new thread. Please click on the link or obtain the information. Or answer the main questions for me, which you answer into your IT provider. And then what they will do, they will call this IT provider, obtaining all your answers, and they reply to this, the real IT provider, like say, okay, I'm Anastasia from the group IB. This is what we did. Yeah, this is my password. This is my second questions, like OTP or other stuff that I have. Yeah, then my first card that I had or something like the question.
Hmm.
And they will obtain, like, I need to rebuild my access to your system. And they will send it to them. Sometimes they so believe on what they see and what they heard, because this is the right answer. So already have everything, so it should be true. And a lot of things happened during the last year and started to be this year too already, with this kind of building of trust. So the last case is like Axios compromise of the NPM package, which is have 80 million downloads each week. Imagine this is like a developers using this daily in implement this code on their programming and using in every, I don't know, every second or third company in the world.
Hmm.
It means if you inject malicious code inside, all of the companies will be compromised. You obtain all the data that you want, I don't know, about new solutions, new technical giants stuff, which is like new iPhone maybe, or maybe soon, I don't know. So everything which is building is a kind of scary stuff which is going on. And what the guys did, they speak with this developer before, like for the 2 weeks, doing a great targeted social engineering, like emphasize them that, yeah, we are like, we want that you will work with us, like remote worker. We see how you like do development, etc. stuff. So they started to be more focused on developers and doing this more social identity engineering to emphasize you believe what is going on. So they moved from the one specific persona, like attacking everyone, like this mass spreading spam campaign, for more targeted, I would say. What makes it seem scarier, as we mentioned, like deepfake, etc. stuff, more AI in this, because not only our life with you, David, makes easier with an, AI when we're searching. I don't know what you search normally. I'm sometimes searching about the tarot cards or something other stuff.
Huh. Oh, recently I was searching for what to do in Phuket, but I'm a big science fiction nerd, Anastasia. So I'm usually looking up stuff on sci-fi, Star Trek, and video games. To be honest,
Oh,
but yeah,
that's kind of nice. I'm searching some pictures, or like what is the building, how old is it, or something like after the photo.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. So imagine the hackers have this tool, but they search in how vulnerable this company is, what I can use to attack them, or how can I produce the code to make an phishing kit, or whatever they have. Yes, of course, LLMs, they prohibited to do malicious actions, but sometimes all the prompts so pushy, and they find the small gaps where they can, well, like, let's imagine if you ever, like, I'm a company who should want to be protected from the DDoS. What should I do? Like,
Mm.
and it will answer to you, like, never doing like this. I'm like, okay, I will do this. Like the
Of
opposite.
course, of course. And yeah, we've heard a bit over the last couple of years around just how much information there is about any individual online to be harvested to steal your identity, especially in the worlds of deepfakes. What I found interesting about what you were saying there is, I think we've been told like, yeah, they're going to go after your CEOs or your executives and rah, but no, they're probably more likely to go after a developer, or someone who is one of your workhorses who actually probably has much better access than your CEO.
Yes, that's
um,
correct.
yeah, and that's how they get in. I remember hearing stories about one organization that was breached through there was a DevSecOps person or a developer who had a Plex media server at home, and they were working from home, and they managed to get in through that server and nick off with the AWS secret keys and all that kind of stuff. But what I also find fascinating is I've been in cyber for a while myself now, for a couple of decades, and when the age of social media first started, most of us kept a pretty low profile. We masked our names on Facebook. We didn't use real photos of ourselves. We kept our LinkedIn profiles fairly tight. But that was back in the day when cyber was we were the back office people, right? Like it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
security for obscurity back in those days. But now we have big public profiles. We host podcasts. We go on podcasts. We speak at conferences and events. I can remember my marketing team at my old job like going, "Oh, can you please take off some of the restrictions off your LinkedIn so we can share some stuff and have you share our posts and all that kind of stuff." And I think it's probably because we realize that we're probably less likely to be targeted because we know what we're doing to an extent. So it's pretty scary. I mean, is it what advice are we kind of giving to people in this day and age though, like around finding that right balance around managing this like whole thing around like identity theft and deep fakes and all that? What's some of the key bits of advice that you're giving to people these days?
We sometimes do this like corporate intelligence when the person from the VIPs, he try to understand how much information about him like online and what the others can find. And some of this profile, even if they believe they're secured enough, so they're not sharing something in the like Instagram, some big CEOs, they didn't share anything like where they are right now. But there's like wife or children, they share like, oh, 5 minutes ago, I was in this hotel with this amazing cocktail and like with my
Hmm.
husband like, doing something kind of stuff. And I traced it all there where they moving because of there's like other part of the family. I know it's kind of scary stuff which is going on about this. So we suggested in this case it's not too so much publicly shared specific places where you are. I know in some cases that you are influencer, you want to share that the like I'm in this country, etc. stuff. But please don't share specific dates, times where you presented in the hotel. So this is something that can be used against of you or your family part or some company parts. Unfortunately, it happens a lot. For the not being attacked by the scam, etc. stuff, it's always what I'm suggesting. They in most cases they're still using this urgent situation. So you're already in the pressure, you're quickly doing your work, or I don't know, the contracts firing, like, oh my God, what is happening? So you're already in pressure. And there will be the guy who's saying I'm your like a IT worker or the boss or whatever. Please, I need to this contract sending the money right now. Please call me and let's do it like right away. So I always suggest like stop. Even if it's your boss and he call you and say this is urgent, it can be not urgent for next like a 2-3 minutes. So you can stop, breathe in, breathe out, thinking about is it the channel that normally this guy using to be speaking with you. So for example, I texted to you in the SMS. Do you believe me that I will text in the SMS if we previously spoke in the, I don't know, Telegram or others instant messengers? No, so it's kind of strange stuff. So verify all the time. Please calm down and verify. I say it. Yeah.
As always, there's a lot of interesting kind of points that came out of what you just said, and one of the things that resonated with me there was what you mentioned about the CEO or the senior executive might be quite clued in on what to do and what not to do, but you can't account for the rest of their families. I mean, my own husband was like posting heaps whilst we were on honeymoon, right? And I didn't really post to myself. I would just repost whatever he tagged me in. But like our partners, our families, our children, like we actually have to do a lot of cyber awareness education at home too. Like I can remember going through when I first started dating my now husband, and we had to setting up MFA because he's a big social media user and all that kind of stuff. And then literally a week later, sitting next to him on the couch and he's getting MFA alerts like, oh, why am I getting this? I'm like, because someone's trying to hack your Facebook. That's why, if someone's got your password
Yeah.
and they're trying to get into your Facebook. I could probably nerd out with you all day, but I've got to let you get back to your very important work. So finally, you operate out of Thailand and Southeast Asia. However, we have an Australian audience for this podcast. What insights do you have for Asia Pacific countries, specifically for our listeners here in Australia, that you would like to share?
There's this like several top threats happening right now, I would say, for the Australia. Like I think it's third year of the row that Australia in top two attacked countries by the ransomware groups in APAC
All right.
region. So can I say they're fighting for the place with India each year? So in previously it was Australian top one, and this year it's like India top one. So they change the position sometimes.
Hmm.
Why so? Because the Australia, like a great country. This is the main point.
Obviously.
Yes, obviously. But yeah, the main point is technically great country with a lot of new solutions, services, which is producing daily, and the government and the connections with the others countries and how they influence the other part of the world to doing something like in government and others like technological start. That's why they interactive to the cyber criminals to attack them, such industries, etc. So they will spend more times for making like a dark sports on the security in Australia. That's why we saw a lot of the ransomware group who trying to obtain like influence such specific attacks. Another things which is connected for this year, unfortunately, we have this conflict in the MEA region, and others countries they're like giving a support or for one of the part of the world to who they support. It has happened that all this like a political news narrative which is happening, and when Australia say something like for external readers, there will be hacktivists who read in this news and started to claims about the attack on Australia. So I saw that the last month a lot of the noise from the hacktivists were doing like DDoS or like Deepfakes side. They're attacking some like IT firms and governments, agencies, or some embassies in the Australia. Even if they're not much successful, they do this a lot of noise and claims and say like we all of us like need to attack some specific industry in this country. So they rise. After them can come somebody like we name like national state hackers who say like, oh, we see a lot of efforts. So why when they will fight in with the DDoS, for example, we will find the back door where we knock and open the door like with a hand or with a leg and like
Mhm.
come inside. And certain, I would say, thing which is happening already in 2025, but is I guess when I am in Australia speaking about this a lot, there's a problem was with pension funds which you have in April 2025. Unfortunately, the problem was the mainly security problem. So MFA should be in each of the sites, but they say like it's not obvious that we need it. And this is what the problem, because there was the hackers who is we already speak about this identity theft. They use this identity to interact with the sites to obtain the money, so the funds goes away. And we see some kind of services still have these kind of problems, and we still an alarm of the phishing and scam campaign because they start to be more targeted like identity fraud. But because of they can use these attacks through obtaining the funds and this real stuff which is happening in Australia. So that's why we like identity fraud will be a top knock for 2026, and Australia
Mm.
should be aware of it in the first place. Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of systemic issues within different sectors where you mentioned the super funds there, or the pension funds as you called it, where they were like, well, hey, we don't really believe that MFA is necessary on our portals, right? But then there's
Yes.
always, guess what? These guys are clever, right? And what you think is benign information, or which is just or just account balances, can be manipulated and used in ways that you never would have imagined, because that's their job.
Yes, absolutely, yes. So the more difficult life for them, the better. So
Listen to your security teams, I think, is the motto of the story.
yes, please.
I say selfishly
Mhm.
as a CISO. So, and one final kind of mention there. A little joke popped into my head when you were talking about Australia going from the top ransomware targeted country in Asia Pacific to the second, probably the only time Australia has ever been happy to go from first to second place in any. Not that we're a competitive country in any way, shape, or form, but
Yeah, I think so. But that's a great narrative in Australia, which they started to implement, I guess, from the last year or in the end of the 2024. Sorry, I don't remember exactly the date. That all the organization who's attacking by the ransomware, they should share it to the government and to the regulator. So you will see more visibility what exactly going on right now, and how we in the all this all sharing narrative will help others companies in the industry will be protected. So they will see what was your blind spot in this attack, and they will quickly patch it or do awareness testing on etc. stuff.
And it's been a really, really insightful conversation with Anastasia. A lot to take away. I think really, really good insights there as well, or just even a compliment to how good Australia is at collaboration and community when it comes to cybersecurity. I get to interview a lot of international guests on this show who come over for our conferences in Australia, and they always compliment us like, wow, people actually want to work together on combating cyber threats here, which is an important lesson we hope that we can bring to the rest of the world. Thank you again so much. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you for the last little bit, and thank you so much for sharing your voice with us today.
Thank you so much. Pleasure is mine. And once again, please visit our Phuket if you want. If we want to visit our
I'll be back.
We'll be your guide.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Cyber Voices. Our music is by Sonar Garut, our show artwork is by Studio Quarantine, and we record our show at This Is a Studio in Pran, Melbourne, part of Popplant Productions. Please make sure you follow the show on your podcast platform of choice and leave us a 5-star review. This will help others find the show. Also, please follow the association on LinkedIn and Instagram. If you want to add your voice to our ever-growing chorus of diverse cyber voices, have questions, feedback, or would like to be a sponsor, you can do so by emailing us at cybervoices@aisa.org.au. That's cybervoices@aisa.org.au. Are you an ASA member? If not, you should consider joining our network of over 12,000 members across Australia. An ASA membership can open doors, build professional networks, create lifetime friendships, and offer exclusive training, events, and other perks. Become a member today by heading to our website at aisa.org.au. That is all for today. I hope you will join us again next time on Cyber Voices.